NSFW, what unexpectedly turned you on? I was in Japan and had a crush on a woman from South France. Returned to the US. In line for fast food. And I hear a woman behind me speaking with a southern French accent. Popped a boner in line for a slice of pizza. When I was a kid, I saw Mona Lisa from Maya Gamara school art book. The first time I saw her. With hands on her knee. How do I say this? I had a boner. A pre-med student explaining to me the anatomy of the nasal conky while touching my face. The first time I used a riding lawnmower when I was like 12. All the vibrating gave me a raging hard on. To this day whenever I use one to mow I get at least half a stock. My, at the time fiancée, was in school to be an engineer. Meanwhile, I was struggling to get through algebra. She sat down with me and began to explain the logic behind the equations I was using. The more she talked the wetter I became. Finally, I couldn't ignore my primal instinct any longer and I had her right there on the kitchen table. It ended up happening almost every time she tried to talk math to me from then on. Coming down off a DMT trip, and there is no easy way to say this. I am stir-baited thinking about my bedroom door. When it comes to that woman, you're feeling anything she does is such a turn on. Just me personally, but man, women are just effing great all around. Brief eye contact with my tattoo artist while he was tattooing me. Edit. Added a word to clarify. Also, I didn't think this needed to be said, but obviously the needle wasn't touching my skin at that moment, lol, no worries y'all. I would be nervous that he wasn't looking at the tattoo. Once my BF and I were cooking dinner together and halfway through it was ruined because he hadn't kept his eye on the hot pan. It was one of the first times he had tried to cook something somewhat fancy for me. Plus it was late and we were both hungry and tired. Normally he's very kind and gentle, but he got super frustrated and slammed his hand against the wall, swearing. It was startling and at first I was a bit scared, then I got super turned on by it. A girl I was friends with had apparently been giving me hints for a while that I hadn't been picking up on. One time we are hanging out and she goes to take a pee. She yells at me from the bathroom to come here. I walk up to the door and ask her what she needs. With no hesitation she says, "Come in here. I want you to watch me pee." Unexpected turn on for some reason. Bite my earlobe. It was great until my cat apparently figured it out and now it's how she wakes me up. Older women who give off dom mommy vibes. Once had an older woman with that short silver fox haircut and a stronger jaw call me a good girl while I was at work because I did something right with her order that nobody else could for some reason. I'm a relatively straight female. Or am I? Well, FCK. IDK. When I was at the airport and had like 20k knock in cash and wanted to exchange it to euro. Took me a long time to count, but this bank woman at the airport just took my money and did some magic with her fingers that went so fast I couldn't believe it, and she knew within seconds how much money I gave her. But more than that, the whole way she acted with the whole transaction was so unbelievable professional. I have never experienced anything like that level of professionalism in my entire life. How could I not be turned on by the most pro woman I have ever seen? I accidentally Pavloved myself. There used to be this PRN I watched with two chicks in it that had no audio other than music by Disturbed. Years later Disturbed came on the radio, I instantly got turned on. Was so confused for like 10 seconds. Edit. 7 years. 100. 000 plus total karma. And this is my top comment. Great. ORR. Edit. The correct number of R's. The flatbread at Subway suddenly seemed very sensual and seemed to have a skin-like texture. It quickly passed and was replaced with WTF. Hey. A lot of people have a sub kink. Admittedly. A tad different from yours usually. The fact that the guy I like likes to be insulted. You like that? You f-king retardee. Late to the party but whatever. Being in my tent. Semicolon. Like. I don't even know. When I'm camping and I retire to my tent, slip into my sleeping bag and zip up the little tent door. I have no idea, but apparently that really does it for me. What a strangely pure fetish, lol. That scene in GoldenEye where Xenia on a top squeezes that guy to death awoke something in me at a very young age. This guy I was seeing called customer service to get a company error corrected. He used the softest, firmest, most understanding tone I've ever heard, and I lost my damn mind. One day at work we had a day when we needed to dress business smart. Usually we dress very casually, and my coworker, who usually dresses in baggy shirts and jeans. When I was a freshman in college, an English boy in one of my classes said the phrase war of attrition with his English accent, and I had to go take a breather. Shame that there's a lot of British accents that makes us sound like we are having a stroke. Edit. Thank you for my first gold, stranger. My fiance makes this sound when he's turned on by something I'm doing or that he's looking at on me, but it can be a problem sometimes because he sometimes uses the same sound when he sees like an ad for food that looks really good. Scaring people at my haunted house job. Boo. Ah. Unrig. Ah. When I worked in a pharmacy as a stocker, once I spilled some of that warming lube on myself as a bottle had cracked open in transit, and like, why did I get turned on? It's unexplainable. But it happened. I bought some after I clocked out. Was in bed with my girlfriend and the remote was at the end of the bed. I sit up and basically lazily reach for it on all fours. I'm in some boxer briefs that have a pouch-like thing for your junk, so when I bent over my ball bulge was pretty much in her face. She just playfully punched me in the balls and it hurt and stung. But I almost instantly got hard. I'm now laying on my back holding my balls in protection. She can see the outline of my obvious boner though and starts laughing confusedly. She volunteered to blow me as an apology, and since I was already hard, I asked her to tap my balls a little throughout and I nutted harder than ever. Basically now all of our foreplay commences with light ball busting. Cock and ball torture. First off, I'm a guy. So my high school had a darkroom for a black and white film photography program. I was the only boy in the course. There were about 10-15 girls in the class. I was pretty good. And by my junior year, I had been involved in the program longer than any other student. Having so much experience led to me being a good place to go for advice on printing their photos. I would go to their station to figure things out. And the same 3 friends of mine, that were girls, in that class, would come up behind me and rest their chin on my right shoulder. And that would always wake me up. I never expected something like that to send goosebumps up and down my body and warrant a reaction downstairs. But it happened. And I took it in stride from then on. A couple years back, my girlfriend at the time and I used to have sex while Pandora played. Every once in a while a car insurance commercial would play in the middle of songs. We laughed it off. But it didn't distract us from doing the deed. Fast forward a couple years forward and I hear that same car insurance commercial. Instant erection. A friend told me she had a being choked fetish while we were Black Friday shopping. So, obviously, I jokingly choked her in the middle of a crowded Target. Almost nutting at 11:27 PM in the middle of a Target is how I discovered I like choking. Eater. I am female. Still like choking people. So when I was in my early teens and just discovering sex, I decided that since I was a bit of an artist, I could draw PRN for myself. I started with a vag and that was all well and good. But then I decided to try a dick and suddenly sprung. I was not expecting that in the slightest. Paint me like one of your repressed tendencies. My girlfriend, when she picked up a knife, didn't expect that one. Edit. To be clear, it was a normal butter knife and we were at dinner. She just happened to lick something off the blade and suddenly I was pitching a tent. She in no way was attempting to murder me. I really like having my knees rubbed. I could have an orgasm over it. Edit. I'm a woman for anyone curious. Also thanks for all the him references. I totally forgot that Robin Sherbatsky likes this. Since this is also one of my more upvoted comments, I feel a lot better about my weird knee rubbing thing. Nothing gets me hot like a nice wibbly wobbly pair o' knees. When my husband looks back when he's backing in the car. Physical therapy. A no bullshit Indian lady is working on my neck. I start to droop my head. She unceremoniously yanks me back into position. Keep your head up. Damn. Yes, mistress. When my so jokingly bit my butt. I was lying naked on the bed after a shower and he straight up bit my butt cheek as a joke, and dang. It did things. An ex-boyfriend lecturing me about money. I don't think it was the context. Just the way he did it. Like a stern father. He did a lot of things in a stern disapproving dad way, and IDK it was hot. I guess this means I have daddy issues IDK. In modern times it seems like daddy issues, but it basically is your brain saying he sounds like a dad when he does this. He would make a good dad. I should make him a dad. I should mate with him. Something along those lines. I wouldn't worry about. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Kind stranger. Stirring. Like. Stirring around batter or something in a big mixing bowl. Don't know why. Don't know how to describe it. The motion. Or maybe when the spoon scrapes against the bowl. No clue. Hung out mini golfing with a group of friends. Our resident goof was being her typical self. Kinda ditzy and along for the ride, but not very skilled. Just sorta aloof. Also she's into me. But it's unfortunately not mutual. We all went to play pool as a last minute decision. And as it turns out, her aunt has a pool table in her house and she's been playing for ages every week. She snapped instantly into an extremely unusual focus and level of skill. The pool cue was an extension of the body that she was moving across, on, and around the table. Like it was a sophisticated dance that nobody knew better than her. I have never been more aroused by that woman than I was that night. Ever since. It's been the same group dynamic. She's been the same person that I'm platonically friends with. I'll never forget how she woke something up in me that night though. Or how weird it was. I don't know what it is. But something about the just woke up look really gets me. Like messy hair and loose pajamas. Taking a Greek mythology course and the TA. A curvy redhead. Said if you want to talk about mythology for hours on end. I'm your girl. My boyfriend speaking Gaelic to me for the first time. He was just telling me what the police are called in Ireland, but FCK. Talk about a waterfall. Fingers. Long and lithe. Or thin and short. Male or female. Something about graceful fingers turns me on. I am an older college student, 38, who has been fortunate enough to fall in with a friend group of younger students. Being the oldest and, presumably, the wisest, they have taken to calling me dad, pops, etc. One day, one of the young ladies called me daddy. Yell. Edit. No. Nothing happened other than an embarrassed look out of her when she realized her gaffe. For my part, I instantly felt like a creep. I am happily married. And have 2 kids that are not too much younger than her. I don't think it was intentional. And even if it was, I would not have acted on it. These kids really do treat me like their own real dad. They make sure I have 8 when I get cranky. They bring boyfriends and girlfriends to meet me. They ask me for advice. Are you attractive? 'Cause it was on purpose. Okay. I don't know if this counts, but I used to go to physical therapy for a back injury when I was about 17. After each session of exercises they would give you a massage and then an ice pack, as well as patch you with an electrical stimulating device. The routine massage came about and the guy that was working on me pushed a certain part of my buttocks that made me just f-king unload my balls into my pants. Like he found a damn nuclear launch button in my glute area. My embarrassment was immeasurable and my day was ruined. Skip the ice pack and electrical stimuli. Edit. Great. My most voted comment is about jizzing my pants. Edit. And now gold. Gold because another man pushed my nut button. My wife doesn't really ever swear. Except when we are doing the deed. Then she throws around F-bombs freely. One day she kicked the corner of the table and screamed out aloud "Fuck." I had a Pavlovian response in my shorts. I don't have a medical fetish. But for some reason medical scrubs do it for me. Edit. Can't believe that this comment got me some gold. Thanks. On the phone with this guy, there's some history with us, and he said shut up. Bitch, mostly jokingly. Went to yoga with my lady friend. At the end of the class, the instructor had us all lie on our backs on our mats and she was humming or lightly singing. Then she rubbed a lemony oil on our shoulders and foreheads. And the touching and humming gave me a braingasm and I've been into ASMR ever since. My lady friend did not like hearing how much I enjoyed the conclusion to the class. A mistake I never repeated. Edit. Driving off cliffs in video games. Falling in them in general. Finally something just plain fkin weird. Someone acting out of character, so a shy guy suddenly being aggressive or a loud dude being quiet, in a situation that might call for it. So like a big loud dude being soft towards a cat. Or a quiet dude defending someone in a fight. Edit. WHOMST is paying money to gold this. There was a Disney TV movie in like 2008 called Minutemen. At the start of the movie, two of the main male characters are forced to dress as cheerleaders by school bullies and are hung from a flagpole while all the students watch and laugh. That turn on made 10-year-old me awfully confused. And I'm pretty sure that me watching that movie had a huge effect on future me's kinks. Edit. They were hung from a bull statue, not a flagpole. Also, this has reminded me of many TV shows I watched as a kid that were, let's say, influential. Like Ash having to dress as a girl in one episode of Pokémon. An episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where one of the boys had to dress as a girl to win a beauty pageant. I could go on, but I think you all get the point. My former professor took job as copywriter for the education system in our company. So I write the technical stuff. Send it to him and he'll make it nice to read. First time I read his work on my text, I was amazed by how well he understood what I meant and made it so much better. And I got wet. I still sometimes think about certain paragraphs when masturbating. Edit. Holy smokes, this blew up. Thanks guys. For those who'd like to see the infamous paragraphs, the text is all in check and is all about printing machines the company uses. He just really nicely explained how UV print works. I have a rather awful memory. Years of drug abuse probably contributed to that. A longtime co-worker friend of mine has a superb memory and I feel so attracted to her for it. I don't know why. But the fact that she's able to recall personal conversations I had with her 5 years prior really impresses me, especially because we didn't get along too well back then, and turns me on. We just started dating 2 months ago. Having my head scratched softly and sensually while cuddling. Not in the usual kind of horny turn on way. But there is something extremely sensual and erotic about it and I am not even sure why. Something about the intimacy and tenderness of it. I, female, was doing dishes. And one of male friends who was visiting was watching me from the doorway. Unbeknownst to me. When I noticed, he was just casually standing there, leaning against the frame. Arms crossed. Moist. Panties. Sustained eye contact from the guy behind the counter at the gas station. He had dark brown hair and blue eyes. So his eyes really seemed to penetrate me. It was a slip and slide down there. Boys. This thread. Whenever my girl talks about how she appreciates me and thinks about a future with me, instant we need to FCK mode. I was hiking alone. Next you know I was butt ass naked with a hard on. Something about the wilderness is fascinating. My high school girlfriend was giving me head in the 69 position. but was using her feet to keep my shoulders pinned down and not let me return the favor. I've never wanted to eat a girl out that bad in my life. My hairdresser straddles my leg once in a while and gets really close. She also gives the best scalp massages. Someone being extremely passionate about history or doing well in Scrabble. It's very weird. Doing well in Scrabble. Amy Santiago. A girl's bareback. 70-year-old woman said I was handsome. Got a raging hard on for some reason. I think I need a girlfriend. Edit. BTW guys. I'm 20 years old. I may or may not have a granny fetish. Husband sucked icing off my finger. Needless to say, I kept getting my fingers covered in icing. Never be embarrassed to tell your significant other things like this. And if he's continuing to do this with you every time you have icing on your hands, he very likely is into it as well. Talking about fantasies and turn-ons is so important and will do wonders for your sex life. What's he gonna do? Unmarry you? A girl called me daddy the other day while we were going at it. Was a chubby little 15-year-old virgin at a concert. Had never even seen a guy shirtless at this point. The only reason I went to the concert was because someone else offered me a free ticket. One of the band members suddenly did a hip thrust while singing and damn. I'm 20 now, still not over it. Made an all just for this. Cause it's super f-ked up. Representing a guy at a murder trial. Not giving details because it was a fairly distinctive crime. Dude get found guilty, not entirely a surprise, and during the punishment phase the victim's younger sister testified. You know how some chicks get really cute when they are angry? Well, this chick was furious. And she was hot to start with. I'm not sure what it was exactly. But damn, she did it for me. I was glad I didn't have to get up for anything. So two things, excellent answer for this question. But also, I was glad I didn't have to get up for anything. I am just laughing imagining how f-ked it would have been after the victim's relative laid out their anger and you, who are supposed to be defending the murderer, stand up with a huge boner for her. Lick my ear and I'm down to FCK. Never get a puppy please. Kind of like a reverse hair down moment. Don't know how to describe it. First time noticing was a girl I kind of knew in high school. Sort of pretty with really long brunette hair. In a science class. It was a practical lab. So no hanging hair. In just one sweep she gathered up all her hair and pulled and tied it into a ponytail. And slipped on the safety glasses. And I was just gone. This is the most upvotes I've ever gotten before. Neat. Though I might disagree with all the people suggesting that it's just because my brain is expecting a BJ. That would fill me more with fear, apprehension and arousal. After an unfortunate incident some years back. Tomato in the kitchen was looking extra THICC just the other day. When I saw the way my boyfriend interacted with his cousin's children. It made me want to pounce on him. I guess I've reached an age where it's so damn attractive when a man has strong paternal instincts and can play around and talk to children. When my partner comes to pick me up in her car after work. She didn't even do anything. I hugged her and in the process smelt her hair conditioner. It was so strangely hot. I immediately get turned on. An ex of mine were cuddling when she pinned me down and started tickling me. While teasing me about how I couldn't get out any words in between my peals of laughter. That turned out to be a major thing of mine. Boyfriend was passed out drunk in bed with me. When I see his penis stand upright and an arc of pee hit me directly on my face. I was so angry that night. But it woke up a kink in me and now I'm the weirdo with a pee kink to go along with the degradation one. He turned on a movie while I was standing up and he unexpectedly pulled me into his lap and he was hard. I liked that way more than I thought I would. Edit. Well thanks Reddit. Hot people in warm looking clothes. That scene in Avengers Endgame where Cap picks up Thor's hammer. And then a few minutes later he goes Avengers Assemble while the theme song plays. Looked me dead in the face. Asked cash or credit. Browsing for PC parts on Amazon. The most confusing boner ever. Two of my friends, B and J, wanted to set me up with another member of our study group, A. J told to me forget everything I know about A, done. And started to describe her in ways I had never thought of before. I must admit that after he was done and they had left, I had the weirdest boner. When you're laying down to sleep and your wife tries to cuddle and presses her butt against you and you get that SX stretch. Yeah buddy. It's game time. Women's World War II uniforms with the jackets and long skirts. Turns out I like women wearing. Not sure what the right term is. But structured clothing like many uniforms. Being a sub. Then my BF that's a good deal shorter than me pinned me to a wall for one of our first makeout sessions. So I guess also little doms.